Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in this world. This is Edgin Lee with an update for the S&P 500 index. I like to look at a fractal. I'm curious if you can see the fractal. They're not always the easiest to see, but given the current price developments, what I would do is focus on this area. So let's note how price went up, straight down, V-necked up again. And if we expand that into this region, where price went decline, V-necked up. Now fractals are not exact. I have yet to see an exact fractal. They have a high similarity index. And when price fractals are very similar, sentiment is going to be very similar. The sentiment that drives the price action. So if we have a decline and a rise, a V-neck rise, we can expect probably, according to this, another decline. But after that one more decline, we'll get another all-time high. So, in effect, price will decline, let's say, down to this support region, and then rise up again to an all-time high. And based on the fractal, that makes pretty good sense because it follows it quite closely. So far, it's been pretty close. Now, how would this go and be assimilated into a longer term count? If we now add the Elliot waves, many thought, and still do, and I include myself, this was a wave 1. Wave 2 looked very much like a wave 3, 4, and 5. And calling that the top of the top of the top is a very natural expectation to have. But I think the ability to assimilate and assess new data points and constantly have alternate scenarios at top of mind awareness is part of that 1 to 2%, that sliver of a difference of an edge that makes a huge difference between a good trader and a bad trader. In other words, you can give this exact same analysis to a group of 100 traders. Most will not do well, but you will see a handful of traders outperform. And that is that sliverness, that tiny edge. And one is to be able to constantly profile for alternates and be willing to pivot on the dime. So that constant profiling could and should, based on what we're seeing, give the potential of the wave 5 not being finished yet. Okay? In other words, does 3 belong here or does 3 belong here? And this could be a 4. Well, we have a new top here. How can this be a 4? And to that effect, I think this whole move has a strong potential of having been an expanded flat. And what is an expanded flat? Notice how we have a new top here, higher high. But if we call this a B wave, this B wave in Elliot wave on an ABC swing, 3-wave swing, corrective, rises higher than the origin of the A. where the A started, and rarely by more than 0.38 Fibonacci, and this falls well below that. And then we have a wave down, 3 wave up for B, A, B, C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the final C wave of the expanded ABC. And this could have marked the wave 4. When we had it like this, the only thing that kind of bothered me was the equality of 3 and 5. Not exact, but the degree of the difference between 3 and 5 was not that significant. If we put it to here in this new count, I think the disproportionate extension of wave 3 compared to the other actionary waves 1 and 5 shows that this is a better form and fit. And the fact that the fractals calls for higher high after a dip also jives pretty well with that. And if we look at this, we could be seeing the end of wave 1. The dip on that fractal could be this wave 2, okay, 3, 4, and 5. And if that will be the subwave composition of this wave, white wave 5, and we get, let's say from a pattern perspective, we end up with a upward pointing wedge, potentially. That would be a very fitting ending type. This whole thing could become an ending diagonal. Maybe it'll swing up to a new higher high, like this, where you have 3 and 4 and 1 overlapping. And this whole thing may swing as a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. But one thing that is clear on this alternate count is that the fractal and this new revised alternate count is likely calling for higher highs to come. For how long? Next several years. I think that's a very likely scenario to keep into a top of mind awareness, especially if that fractal plays out. Okay, I hope you found this alternate count to be helpful. Have a great day.